Okay. We start this spotlight section. Our first speaker is Luciana Benotti from Universidad Nacional de Córdoba. So, thank you, Luciana.
So, thank you very much for the invitation. I'm very happy to be here. So today I'm going to present our team at Córdoba, Argentina. So just to make a little common ground, Córdoba, Argentina is right in the middle of Argentina. That's where the city is, and this is the building where we work. The university is called Universidad Nacional de Córdoba, and we work at the Facultad of Matemática, Astronomía, Física y Computación. So I organized this talk around some challenges that we face as researchers trying to do research in Latin America. So I believe I'm talking for more than one when I say it's hard to get exposure and have impact in the international research community because of different reasons. Ones that we face every day is that international conferences are too expensive. Research funds have been drastically reduced in Argentina in the last years. And another reason is we are evaluated according to the number of our index journal publications. Conferences do not count many times or count very little for us. Or it depends who evaluates you, so it's a bit risky to publish at conferences. So just to see whether this also happens to you, do you identify with any of these? Please raise your hands. So today what I wanted to tell is how we try to address these challenges, and I will be very happy to hear of how you do it. Let's try to solve them together. So we have a small group working on artificial intelligence. We are 7 permanent researchers and around 10 PhD students that come and go, and 15 master's students. We have a PhD in computer science and a master's in computer science. 500 students start in first year, but only very few graduate, like around 10 or 30 in a good year. So now I'm going to do 3 things. First, I'm going to show you a list of topics that each of us is working on. These slides were prepared, but so I prepared these slides by crowdsourcing. These slides, each of them was done by a different researcher, and then they included their more important topics. But I will also provide links to how to contact them, either if they are here or through email, so that if you are interested in any of these topics, you can go to them directly. And also, I'm going to say how each of us try to address these challenges that I mentioned. So I will start with Franco Luque. You will see a picture of the researcher and then the email address. So if you think you are interested in collaborating in any of these topics, you can contact them. So Franco is one of the members of the Natural Language Processing Group, and he started working on this topic, working on unsupervised parsing and semi-supervised parsing. Then he moved onto applications like sentiment analysis and hate speech detection, like in this tweet. And he's also doing work on multimodal learning, on learning robust embeddings for images together with language. So one way that Franco found in order to address these challenges is to work on using low resources in 2 senses. So when he focuses on methods where you have little data and little money. Little money in general to collect data or to buy computers. So he focuses on things like spectral learning, or also sometimes instead of using recurrent neural networks because they consume a lot of computing power, he uses hybrid linear models and see in which cases these simpler models are good for some tasks. he also, in order to address the little data problem, works on data augmentation, like simple two-way translation, for instance, or combining instances, data points in different points to create more data points. He has also worked on, as I mentioned before, on robust embeddings that are aware of subwords. So he works on n-grams, but of characters, not of words, in order to construct these embeddings. And also, for each researcher, I will include a list of the recent publications so that you see where they publish or where they try to publish or where we try to publish. So another researcher from the team is Jorge Sanchez. Jorge is here. So if you are interested, he's there in the end of the room. So if you are interested in any of these topics, you can go and talk to him. So my role here is like a promoter of our. He works on computer vision and machine learning. So he can tell you more about these topics. So he works on image classification and tagging using these techniques. Also, he's collaborated with Franco Luque on multimodal learning and on different tasks of applied computer vision. In fact, this brings me to his way of facing the challenges. And his way of facing the challenges is to have strong ties with industry. He's the head of research of the company Deep Vision AI in Córdoba. And he's also a researcher at CONICET. So that's something that there are not so many people in Argentina doing research in these areas and working also in the industry in a formal setup like he's doing. So he's building this road for the rest of us that if we want to follow. So if you have questions about that, you can also ask him. So he also focuses on human resource training, and he teaches data science as a postgraduate courses. So another researcher of our team is Martín Domínguez. Martín Domínguez is the head of the group of analysis and processing of large social and semantic networks. He also has these strong ties with the community, as Jorge does, but in the case of Martín, he works more with governmental organizations. For instance, here it says Dirección General de Rentas, so that's where we pay our taxes for the buildings that we have, like our houses, and he's collaborated with them in order to detect which people are more willing to pay through direct charges to the bank account, for instance, to improve the tax collection process. So Martín Domínguez also collaborates with Damián Barsotti. They have also worked on natural language generation, in particular generation of referent expressions. They also focus, again, on chip computers, like different structures for doing machine learning on cluster of chip computers. And they have worked on graph embeddings for machine learning and semantic knowledge graphs. Another researcher in our team is Laura Alonso Alemany. So Laura Alonso Alemany focuses a lot on human resource trainings, on different ways of doing this. So she teaches master's and PhD courses, crash courses, workshops. In fact, she says herself that she does evangelization on good methods for machine learning, like the ones that we heard from Luciana Ferrer in the first day, and from many other great speakers here. So that's also her focus, I mean, like a focus that is shared here at Khipu to convey and spread good methodologies. In fact, Laura is one of the organizers and promoters of our group meetings that we call them after talking about all these challenges, you might understand why we call these group meetings sessions of therapy. So on the topics that she works on low cost, high coverage, legal name entity recognizers, so she's in the legal domain. So if any of you is interested in that domain, you may contact Laura or contact Milagro Teruel, that is here, there, and go directly and talk to her. So Milagro had just finished her PhD with Laura, and they worked together on the legal domain and also on the educational domain. So the topic for her PhD was embeddings for student modeling in virtual learning environments. Then the last member that I'm going to mention is Carlos Areces. So he's more a theoretical guy. So he works on computational complexity theory, and he also, his way of addressing this challenge is also to train a huge amount of human resources. So you say, how to get students to work on computational complexity theory? Well, it's really, just go and ask Carlos, because I don't know how he does it. And in particular related to machine learning, he has worked on using machine learning to guide some very complex algorithms that otherwise will consume too much computational power to be able to execute them nowadays. Maybe with quantum computing, I don't know. So last, so these are my topics, the areas I work in. So my heart as a researcher is on dialogue systems. In particular, I've always worked on dialogues that are physically situated. For instance, suppose that you could have a dialogue with the system that is guiding you to walk through Montevideo. And then you could ask a clarification request when you are walking on the street and you don't know whether to turn left or to turn right, or which is the street that you have to take. Unfortunately, we still cannot ask this clarification request. So this is my main area of research in which I did my PhD. Now I'm working on visual dialogue. That is a hot topic in the area of image processing, of NLP and image processing, where the two areas come together. And if you want to know more about visual dialogue, come on Friday to poster 40, where Mauricio Mazuecos is going to show his brand new PhD topic. So he's just starting his PhD, so first, please be gentle. So this is in the poster session on Friday, and the title is Conversational History Used Effectively in Visual Dialogue Systems, and he will try to convince you that it's not nowadays. So, and he's also doing a demo, so please come and play, so you can play a game with a state-of-the-art dialogue system in the demo that he prepared together with the poster. So last, another topic I work on is on educational analytics over student-generated text, including information like user profiling, gender, age, stylistics, taking into account politeness theory, strategies using language. I worked also in this topic on second language learning, lexical acquisition in particular. So if you are interested in this topic, I'm going to give a talk in the NLP Advanced Topics, whose title is, Can we predict student success using NLP techniques? So this is on Friday in the parallel session on NLP Advanced Topics. So my strategy for coping with the challenges is having collaborators abroad. So I've done this for both topics I work on, And I wanted to tell you how this is working for me. So I train these human resources. I have all these students, and then they go away. So I'm very thankful now and to Khipu organizers and to all the initiatives that are contributing to building an ecosystem in which they can return, and some of them are returning. Just to summarize, the coping mechanisms that I mentioned, we collaborate with researchers in other countries, but that has its own disadvantages, as I showed you. Some of our researchers have strong ties with companies. We address low resource, little money problems, and then we focus on human resource training. Thanks.
Thank you very much, Luciana. Great talk, and thanks for sharing your experience in these things. We have time for one question or one comment, also how we share deal with these topics here in Latin America. Nobody here has these problems?
Hi, I just wanted to comment. Something that is happening in many countries is that every year you have less budget for doing research. But one thing that is happening in Peru is that we have more budget every year. Then we can talk later about it.
Great.
Let's move to Peru.
Thank you. Let's collaborate.
Let's thank, one more question. Fast, please.
Hi, thanks for a great talk. It's nice to see all that people working here. It's an honor, actually. I just wanted to ask you about collaborations in terms of how you think and you see value in what type of collaborations do you look for when you look for interacting with companies? What kind of collaborations help interactions you find useful and valuable for both sides?
Well, the main problem that we have as researchers is to keep our human resources. So that's what I tell to companies. So can you help me keep my human resources working with me and not going to these big companies abroad? So if the company can offer something to sustain that, like an ecosystem, like money so that students can eat, I'm happy.
Thank you. I think everyone here is thinking something about these topics. Let's thank Luciana again and ask for Agustin to come up.